All right, Colombia to the final. We're going to talk about what it means for Canada against Uruguay. But have you ever seen anything like that scene we just saw there?
That's just incredible stuff, isn't it? I mean, I think that was the sort of thing, Jay, that happened 30, 40 years ago in sports, wasn't it? This is absolutely phenomenal. That's Liverpool striker, I think, Darwin Núñez there, isn't it? And he's heavily involved there. I mean, you're hoping that the staff and the technical team around the team are actually trying to control that to take them away, because some of those guys could be looking at long-term bans for that, because we remember Eric Cantona and the famous kung fu kick when he played for Manchester United when I was only a boy, and he got, I think it was a nine-month ban after that.
Right. So,
I mean, there's a precedent set from that, so let's just see what happens.
Mike, somewhere Mike Milbury, though, is very excited and trying to hit somebody with a shoe. We got to talk about this. So that loss for Uruguay means Canada gets Uruguay in the third-place matchup. First of all, just right off the top, your initial thoughts of that match?
I think it's a great test for Canada. Whoever they got, honestly, they're both top-class sides. The game was incredible in itself, Colombia against Uruguay. So I think it was something. It would be a special game for Canada, whoever it was going to be. Now it's Uruguay. We know the talent that they've got, the class that they've got all over the field, and I think this is another big game for Jesse Marsch. It might be a time for Jesse Marsch maybe to rest one or two of the key players that have played through Copa and give one or two of the guys that haven't had a lot of game time some time on the field. But I think it's a great game for him. I think it's a serious test, because Canada won't have these really competitive games now for another 2 years ahead of the World Cup.
And it's funny you bring up, potentially bringing up some of these young players to play. Jesse Marsch had this to say on Wednesday, looking ahead to that matchup.
And I ran training this morning, and it was with the 12 players plus 2 goalkeepers that didn't start in the match. And I said, look, we're making some changes for Saturday, and let's have a training session where we give everybody the best chance to be well prepared and ready for the kind of performances that where we leave camp feeling like in every way we pushed and squeezed every potential out of every single player, out of every single moment that we possibly could have done. Alfonso had the X-ray and it came back negative, so that part's good. Whether he'll be available for Saturday night is too early to say.
So the manager there essentially echoing your thoughts. I assume you like that strategy.
Well, I think it gives him a chance to see the guys, and he's going to give them exposure to top-class players, and I think that is the most important thing now for Jesse Marsch, because he spoke about the depth of talent that's available to him right now, and he needs that depth to grow. He needs more players that's going to make themselves available for 2 years' time, and potentially maybe several games that he's got in between that he's going to give more game time to. But this is opposition in a competitive game, and he doesn't have too many of these games. So we may see one or two. Well, I think he suggested that we will see one or two of the other guys that haven't featured.
Kevin, are we at a stage as a soccer nation where we could feel disappointed?
Did you just say soccer nation?
Yeah, we're a soccer nation.
That's happened in a short time since I've moved here, I think.
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, it's probably thanks to you in a lot of ways. But are we at a stage where we could feel disappointed if we lose this third-place matchup?
Well, as soon as Max Kropol's finished the game, he's speaking about, I want a third-place finish. This is where we feel we want to be now. We want to be competing. We want to win games. And they want a third-place medal, because they'll get a medal for it.
Yeah.
And it will mean so much. And you don't get many opportunities to play at this level, at this stage of a tournament.
Yep.
It didn't happen to me very often. I was fortunate enough to get a World Cup and play in a knockout stage. And that's it. It comes and goes very quickly. And these guys will be talking about this for the rest of their lives to the grandkids, hopefully, in the future. And as I said, these moments don't come around, so you've got to treasure them. So you've got to approach this game like it is the final itself. And I think they will do that. I think Jesse Marsch will get them maybe mentally focused to do that.
Let's talk about the final. So it's Argentina, Colombia. And I thought Julian de Guzman said something really interesting with you guys on Tuesday night during the Argentina-Canada match. He said maybe at the beginning of the tournament, he would have given Colombia a good chance to beat Argentina. But the way Colombia has rounded into form kind of right up until that semifinal, do you feel like the Argentines are truly the favorite?
Well, they will be favourites simply because of Messi and the X factor that they've got throughout the side. But don't underestimate Colombia, because Colombia are on an incredible unbeaten run right now as well. I think it's 28 now. They're on an unbeaten run Argentina themselves, I think I'm right in saying they've lost 2 in
5 years.
5 years. I think it's 60 games or around that. It's an incredible run they've been on. So both sides in form, you can't get away from that. And don't rule out a penalty shootout because then they both keep their unbeaten run. So that's another thing to maybe factor in here. But Colombia, the pace that they play with, the intensity they play with, I think we've seen from Argentina against Canada that they are ready for the big stage. They raised the game to a level that Canada probably couldn't compete with. I have to say that in the semi-final there down in New Jersey. So I'm looking forward to it. And as I said, Colombia, Luis Diaz, and several other players that they've got within their side. James Rodriguez, he's come back from...
What a story.
We don't even know. None of us
Where did he come from
None of us can understand how he's got back to that level.
32 years old. It's rare you see that in soccer, right?
Yeah.
Where a player at 32 certainly finds his legs again.
Yeah, I know. It looked as though after he left the Premier League at Everton, my old team, it looked as though that was it. He was done, but it seems like he's gone away. He's refocused. He's prepared himself mentally. Physically, he's in as good a shape as I've ever seen him in. So when you've got that talent on the pitch, they could seriously hurt Argentina, but we all know what Messi can do. And he did turn it on in moments against Canada. So I think it's just a fascinating battle, really.